Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and I know it's a day late, but we're finally going to review what happened yesterday as Celtic advanced to the next round of the Scottish Cup. We're going to talk about some of the stories that have developed from that game. Generally, we're going to catch up on everything we would have really done in the match reaction we'd usually do straight after a game. So forgive me, but there's good reason. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. Let's try and get as close to 50,000 subscribers as we can this year. Just drop down below, hit both those buttons. It's absolutely free. And I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who sent some nice messages of support yesterday as I made my official debut in the world of wrestling. Yes, I know everybody's wrestling fans, I understand that. But for those who might have saw, yes, I have now joined the commentary team over at ICW Insane Championship Wrestling. Made my debut in the garage last night alongside Billy Kirkwood. It was a fantastic event. And that's why I wasn't here yesterday. That's why there was no match reaction. I wasn't ducking or diving the result or the game or whatever. Well, we won. Why would I duck or dive it? I was busy with a new commitment. And I'm extremely excited about it. So I know, as I said, not all of you are wrestling fans. But yeah. Massive opportunity, very grateful for it, and I'm looking forward to the future. If you are a wrestling fan, make sure to join us in the new era of ICW. You can get tickets for the upcoming shows. I believe the next one is on the 3rd of March, Sunday the 3rd of March at ICW's Asylum. Make sure to come along, say hello. I'll hopefully be there, as long as I'm not sacked after my first shift. Well then, Celtic won 2-0 yesterday in Paisley to advance to the quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup, and a result that was much better than what we've seen in recent weeks. I would say a performance that was better. It wasn't the full, polished product that I think people have been waiting on in this vast improvement in what we've seen, but it was definitely steps in the right direction. And listen, in the Scottish Cup, when teams are up for it, and St Mirren being a difficult team to play, I would have took any sort of win yesterday, and we won in a good way, a good fashion. Pretty happy with how the match went down. And ultimately, as I said, it takes us to that quarter-final matchup. We saw Kyogo get back in the score sheet, which was lovely. He found the first goal in that first half, and that was followed up by Dyson Maida's rebound in the second half, which secured the win for Celtic. Listen, yesterday St Mirren took the game to us. They didn't hide. That's what I mean. In the Scottish Cup, it's one and done. You've got to try and win the game. You're not going to get a second chance. You've got that 90 minutes to try and get something, or you're out the cup. And St Mirren recognised that yesterday because they evidently went for it. I thought, in the first half is basically what I got to see. I went back and watched the highlights, but the entirety of the first half is basically what I got to see. And St Mirren really did go for it. Celtic had to kind of laser focus themselves into making sure the defence was sturdy enough to handle them, because they were going forward, they were creating chances. I mean, they ended up hitting the bar. There was a fantastic overhead effort that was saved by Joe Hart. St Mirren weren't hiding away from any sort of challenge, but I thought, considering we had a very, I don't want to use the word weak, but certainly a weakened back four out there, I thought we handled it quite well, and we managed to take our opportunities when they came. Because one of the problems with Celtic in recent weeks has been the fact that we haven't been taking those chances. We've been missing big chances, and over the course of the season so far, in the league anyway, we've regretted those chances. We've ended up dropping points because we've been wasteful in front of goal. But Kyogo made the best of an opportunity gifted to him from some brilliant football through Callum McGregor and Lewis Palmer. Dyson Maida was in the right place, the right time. And listen, with a player like Dyson Maida, sometimes you'd expect him to blaze that sort of opportunity over the bar, and that's exactly what we've been doing this season. So the fact he didn't blaze it over the bar, the fact that he found the back of the net and got Celtic through to the next round is huge for us. So I was decently pleased from what I've seen. I still think there's levels for Celtic to step up. As I said, I don't think it's the most complete performance you're going to see, but you've got to do it the nitty-gritty way in the Cup. And if that's what gets you lifting a Scottish Cup by the end of a season, I ain't complaining. Of course, we've got to talk about the fact that Brendan Rodgers actually changed the system yesterday, and I think that you could see certainly some positives in that change, having both Adam Ida and Kyogo playing up front, playing the two of them at the same time. I don't think we talked about it on the live stream before the game that I done on the channel, and I said at the time, I don't think we're going to see this massive change that the lineup might suggest. I think we're going to see something quite similar to what we have been used to in recent weeks, just hopefully a bit better in the final third. And I think that's what happened. I wouldn't say Celtic were vastly different. I don't think there was anything that really caught my eye that suggested that we were playing in a revolutionary sort of way, or Brendan Rodgers had up sticks from his usual and moved to a completely new system. But there was slight changes in there that did work for Celtic. And that's obviously good, because we want to see that from Brendan Rodgers. We want to see that ability to adapt when things aren't going to plan. And they haven't been going to plan for a couple of weeks now. We played poorly against Ross County, Aberdeen, Hibs. Something had to change. And even if it is something minor to try and win you a game or unlock that element that's been missing in the final third, if you can do that as a manager, then that's showing signs that you're not going to be stubborn to a system that's not working. And I thought that Kyogo and Adam Idah actually complemented each other quite well yesterday. Adam Idah was actually quite unlucky. I think he should have maybe had a goal with that opportunity he put wide. I think it was in the second half. But listen, pretty pleased with what I saw. We're through to the next round. That means Celtic will take on Livingston in the next round of the Scottish Cup. A decent tie for us, especially because it's at Celtic Park. I'm not going to speak too soon, and I'm not going to disregard any sort of chance that Livingston can get an upset, because with the way our season's going, you never know what will happen. But considering the state that Livingston are in at the minute, it's a pretty favourable tie for Celtic. It takes us one step closer to Hampden, as I said. And ultimately, with all due respect, Celtic should be beating Livingston. It would be a catastrophe if we didn't. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good enough game. Hopefully a game that we win and sends us to the semi-finals. And hopefully sets us in a path to lifting that Scottish Cup again and bringing it back to Celtic Park. We'll need to wait and see. Some of the good news after the match was that we will see Greg Taylor return soon, hopefully. Hopefully by the next game, if we're lucky. But he has been a big miss, and Brendan Rodgers touched on that after the game. And once again, I'll use the same phrase, with all due respect to Bernabei. I think we've seen the stark difference in quality between someone like him and Greg Taylor. And that's saying that in a season where Greg Taylor hasn't been at his best. So it really says a lot. But he should be back soon. Hopefully we have an update on Alistair Johnson as well soon after his horrible injury that he suffered against Hibs. But should be hopefully back soon as well. There is one player we have to talk about, though, who might not be back soon for Celtic if we're going off the manager's comments. Someone who was noticeably absent from yesterday's squad. That man being Liel Abada. So when asked about Liel Abada and why he was left out of the Celtic squad yesterday, this was Brendan Rodgers' comments. He said he wasn't in a right frame of mind. I spoke a lot to Liel and it's been challenging for him. I just felt that when he came into the game the other night, it wasn't him. So we gave him a chance to have a few days and clear his mind. I'll have a chat with him again next week and see where he's at. This is a situation now that evidently is becoming a bit of a problem for Celtic and Liel Abada. I spoke about this very honestly in a video a couple of weeks ago when it was looking like Liel Abada could have left the club. There was the big story that broke that people were looking at maybe loaning Liel Abada out, and there was a serious chance he would depart the club in the last few days of the window. So if you want to hear more of my opinion on it, then check that video out, because I don't want to get too deep into it here, but I think we're now approaching a point in time where it's becoming incredibly likely that Liel Abada is probably going to leave Celtic Football Club. I said yesterday in the live stream I wasn't going to predict, I wasn't going to assume or speculate in the reasons why he was out the side. I was hoping it was maybe just a fitness issue, but now we know why. And it's obviously the situation that has been probably bubbling in his mind for months since everything has escalated in the Middle East, and obviously the reaction from Celtic fans towards that. This is a situation that isn't going to solve itself. It's simply not going to. You can't ask people to change their opinions on politics. You can't ask for people to change their opinions on the situation. And obviously you can't ask Liel Abada to do the same. It works both ways. It would be contradictory to say that he should lap it up or we should lap it up. Listen, the situation is what it is. And without getting my political opinion involved in this video, and without letting it influence what I'm going to say, I think we're now just realistically looking at a scenario where Liel Abada probably won't be a Celtic player next season. And I understand that completely. If he wants to move on from the club, fair enough. I'm not going to be one to sit here and say that he should or shouldn't leave, or I would like to see him push towards the door. He's a big boy. He's a grown boy. He'll make his own decision. He'll make the decision that's best for him and his family. And that probably is going to be leaving the club. Brendan Rodgers said he didn't look himself when he came on the park the other night. And he didn't. He was shocking. It was really bad, if you have to put it bluntly. And if that's because of everything that's going on in his head and because of everything that's going on outside, we can't really change that at the minute. And I know a lot of people will give the opinion of, well, we should keep politics out of football and we shouldn't be giving our opinions at the ground. That's fine. You don't need to personally take your opinion into the ground, but I've always been under the impression that football and politics go hand in hand. It's the exact reason Celtic Football Club exists. You should be allowed to voice your opinion. You should be allowed to display that. You shouldn't be silenced. We live in a country where freedom of speech is encouraged. So, we should be allowed to give that opinion across. And sadly, this is a situation that Liel Abada's in that none of us can relate to as close to as him. So he's going to have his own opinion. He's going to have challenges that will affect his performances and affect his relationship with the club. If he wants to go, he probably will leave. It's obviously a very big situation that it's hard to get into. I am wondering if the best decision was to let him leave on that loan deal, if there was one there realistic on the table in the last few days of the window. But he's still here, hopefully, and I would like to see him get back in the side if he can get in the right frame of mind for it. But I just think that that's going to be a real challenge. It's probably the reason why we have brought in someone like a Nicholas Kuhn to strengthen the right wing area. But this is one we'll just need to watch where it goes, to be quite honest. It's a lot deeper than what it will be on the surface. The guy's been getting threats and his national team manager and teammates have spoke out. He'll have a lot to deal with that we don't see through the media and through social media. We won't probably see the half of it. So it'll get dealt with and we'll see what happens with Liel Abada. But for now, it seems like his place in the Celtic side might be non-existent for the next wee while. And that's about it for today, I think. Obviously, some very touchy conversation surrounding the Liel Abada stuff. So, don't go out your way to be too heavy in the comments section. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion at the end of the day. I've got mine, you've got yours. And I'm certain that most Celtic fans will have differing opinions. However, big win for Celtic, through to the next round. Another big week for us, of course, because we will return to league action soon enough, where we need to do better and strengthen our bid for that Premiership trophy at the end of the season. So stay with me this week. We should be here every day doing the usual, and hopefully we'll get through it. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.